I want to get into the sort of the big dong defense, kind of what we called it here, and that's what you thought, and he had claimed that this could have possibly caused this. You're a medical examiner, though, right? Or one of your witnesses, at least maybe, I don't know, in court, out of court, kind of debunked that theory, right? And then you had to kind of change your strategy. Is that fair or not?
No, not at all. My strategy was always the same. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm a former homicide prosecutor. I've done 35 first-degree murder trials, only lost one. I analyze this case very, very strictly based on my experience. All along, our strategy was that my client believed that oral sex, in fact, killed his girlfriend. But the reality was, and we knew it all along, that's what he believed, and so that was the context of his statements that she choked. And the jury had to understand that because that was the only evidence the government had. Their own medical witness said that they didn't know how she died. So the only evidence against him was his statements. If the jury understood that was the context of Richard Patterson's statements, that he believed that she died during oral sex, then Dr. Wright was the perfect witness when he came in and told the jury, look, he's not that crazy. It actually can occur. You can actually die this way, but it's very, very unlikely and very rare. And so I got up in my closing argument. There was no switch. I told her it's not likely she died this way. She probably didn't. Dr. Wright testified she probably died of a heart attack. She had high cholesterol, and that's probably how she died. It's the government's burden of proof. They have to prove their case, and they couldn't do it.
I got it. Here's a question, though. So then it seems pretty, I can understand why your client got off. Did they have any evidence that there was like, fingerprints around her neck or like a rope around her neck, something like that? Because if you said, somebody choked, you would think that there would be some sort of device, right, that would cause that, or fingerprints, something like that, right?
Absolutely, and guess what? Zero evidence. There was no broken bone in her neck, which the doctor said you'd expect. There was no bruising to muscles that you would expect. There was no blood bursting in the eyes, which is called petechiae, which you would expect. It's actually positive medical evidence that she was not choked.
Right. Did you ever have to ask your client to show you his thing?
His private.
Because he claimed he thought that could have done it. I'm just curious.
Yeah, did he do that?
Yes.
He did.
Yeah. What I did. Listen, I'm a professional. I'm a lawyer, and in the end, my client was facing life in prison. So I did everything I had to have the jury understand the evidence in here. I had photographs. My client took photographs of himself.
Right.
I provided those photographs to the prosecutor, and we were prepared, if we needed to show the jury whatever evidence they needed to understand what happened here. We didn't have to go there because the government was so deficient in proving its case. There was no need for my client to face that kind of humiliation.
Man, that's got to be awkward. Even as a defense attorney, you have to ask your client to do that.
Hey, listen, people in my law firm had post-traumatic stress disorder from having to deal with this kind of information that normally you wouldn't have to in a law firm or a legal case. But, we're professionals here. Of course. And the goal here was to make sure justice was done. And, as tricky as this is, it's a whole thing, this man is not responsible. The government couldn't prove its case, and he should be a free man.
So are you guessing that they had sex, and she just died of natural causes, essentially? That's probably what happened?
I think that's exactly what Dr. Wright, who is the former medical examiner of Vermont, he was the former chief medical examiner of Miami, and the former chief medical examiner of Broward County. Yeah, that's what he said, that she most likely died of a heart attack. Hundreds of thousands of people die of a heart attack with high cholesterol every year in the United States, and it wouldn't necessarily be found during an autopsy.
And she definitely had high cholesterol.
She did. She definitely did. Dr. Wright testified he looked at the medical records that she had high cholesterol.
Right.
I tell you what, man, if I ever get up into a bind, I'm calling Padowitz.
Get his number.
Ken, there was never, and I think you answered this question when we had you on the first time, there was never any history of violence in that relationship.
No history whatsoever. In fact, the prosecution, in a bumbling way, put on a next-door neighbor about an argument that allegedly occurred a few days earlier, and she testified my client was calm and just sitting there and very relaxed, and that his girlfriend was a little bit excited and raising her voice a little bit. I mean, there's no motive in this case whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What was the motive? Did they give one?
None, zero, no motive.
Ken, we can't let you go without asking. Was he bluffing about his endowment?
No, there's no bluffing here. Listen, Dr. Wright testified. He testified that all it takes for the male anatomy is 4 inches. 4 inches to choke someone.
Right.
Now, that's all. That was the minimum.
You could actually do
No
it.
bluff. And the stone cold nuts.
It's really funny. I mean, it's horrible that someone died, but it is kind of funny. You can understand that, can't you?
I understand why people find interest in this case, absolutely. But in the end, what the teaching moment is from this case is that justice, it may appear a little strange, it may appear a little odd, but when you listen to the actual evidence, you recognize the government could not prove its case, and the fair verdict in this case was a not guilty verdict because Richard Patterson is not guilty.